This edition of the show, I chat with a passionate Nigerian committed to turning Abuja and key cities in the northern part of the country into major tech hubs. Our tech tips today is on how to unlist your number from the Truecaller database. And our mobile app of the week is Schoolgirls. This is Tech Trends, and I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.
150 South African teenage girls took part in a space mission on June the 16th. They were guided in programming and building rovers or mini-robots as part of training for an initiative to get schoolgirls across Africa to help send the continent's first privately owned satellite into orbit. Schoolgirls will effectively design the payload for the satellite, which is scheduled to launch later this year. A satellite is generally made up of two parts, one being the system that provides its core functionality. This is known as the payload. The program is being run by the satellite's owner, Meta Economic Development Organization, to get more schoolgirls in Africa interested in science, technology, engineering and maths, known as STEM skills, which are key for careers in astrophysics and space research.
When I started this program, I was actually more fond of technology and science, and so I decided to carry on because I was more interested now in joining engineering. So this program would help me a lot in terms of developing skills and having foundation skills for the future.
Well, the most thing that I want to achieve is having a planet named after me. That's the most thing that I want to achieve, yes. And probably work for NASA, or actually build my own company just like NASA.
Research shows that the number of women working in fields of science is still chronically low, more so in Africa, where girls are more likely to be kept out of school than boys because of poverty and early marriage. Meadow says 80% of jobs will need STEM skills by the year 2020, yet less than 10% of girls are currently interested or are studying science subjects in higher education. Meadow's satellite, which will have its inner workings designed by the best performing students, will be able to measure temperature, sound or even radioactivity, and with this, and what it does in orbit will depend on the creativity and ingenuity of the girls. The satellite will fly across poles, meaning it will go right over Africa for about 6 weeks, literally connecting the continent and collecting valuable information. The young African women involved in the project already know that they want to learn from the satellite.
Meadow has procured the first private satellite in Africa. And we've decided to effectively give this to young women to design it and put it together. So in our most recent workshop, we've had the young women come into to our offices and work with satellite engineers as to what does the satellite need to study and how is it actually going to do it. And the young women decided to study agriculture and food security over Africa. So the satellite is going to have a polar orbit, meaning it's going to go over Africa, and they want to focus particularly on Africa and the problems that they will be facing in 10 years' time.
The project will also involve girls from Namibia, Malawi, Kenya, Rwanda and Ghana. Week-long camps will be held even during school holidays, where the students will work on and test their payload designs. The tiny bots built by the girls were put to test at the end of the workshop. The girls had created a code that will direct the bots to draw. Many of the students said they were impressed by what they had created and were eager to learn and do more. The annual stampede of gaming enthusiasts marked the return of Electronic Entertainment Expo, commonly known as E3. Hundreds of trade professionals raced each other to get a first glimpse of the new hardware and software available. Held at the Los Angeles Convention Center, the event is solely for gaming industry insiders and journalists. Matt Jeffrey is the head of development at Rebellion and has been visiting the annual show for over a decade.
E3 is important for a number of reasons. First of all, it's the big opportunity for us to show our games in the run-up to the busiest part of the year. Christmas and January, February is where most games are sold, and E3 gives us the opportunity to show games which are almost ready for release and the best chance for buyers, journalists and the fans to see that content.
There's always a number of big announcements at E3 every year. One of the most popular was the latest in the Call of Duty series, which is the highest grossing gaming franchise. Despite its large fan base, Chad Findlay, one of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's project directors, admitted E3 had all the elements needed to launch a game.
There's everybody who loves gaming has their eye on this because they're looking for what is the new thing and when is it going to come out and why should I play it and why is it cool and what's new about it and what do you bring into the table that should make me care about it. And that was and because everybody's actually asking those questions, this is a perfect place because we get to show to people, we get to release trailers, and we get everybody watching and seeing the trailers and playing the game, getting hands-on time with it, and finally getting to see the thing that we've been working on for years, and now we get to show it off.
John Kohler, the vice president of Sony Interactive Entertainment America, admitted they had worked hard with developers to ensure that VR gaming will be sustainable.
Well, I think we'll find out what's good and bad about virtual reality in the months and years to come. Basically, I have an idea about what's good practice and what's bad practice. Personally, I don't really want to have to sit there wearing a virtual reality helmet for more than about 20 minutes. And so I think games that sort of take that into account, and Sony's been very good with the PlayStation VR games. It's really gone out of its way to make sure they're all sort of bite-sized. Bethesda announced that Doom will be available on VR, which that seems like madness to me. Firstly, any first-person shooter is likely to induce motion sickness in you. I don't think first-person shooters will be great VR experiences unless you've got a really strong stomach. And secondly, any game that sort of encourages you to spend hours wearing that helmet, that can't be healthy really, so we'll see.
Nano Drones, tiny flying quadrocopters, were major crowd pullers at the International Tokyo Toy Show 2016, as several companies showed off what they each called the world's smallest drones. The drones may look smaller, but they are packed with the latest technology, and they have been made not only fun to play, but also safe enough to be flown indoors, with a soft cover on each blade that protects people from injuries. Most of these drones weigh in a lot less than the 200 grams which Chinese regulations require before needing a permit to fly, especially outside in crowded or residential areas. At 3.5 centimeters, at its widest point, and 9 grams, Nikko Kyosho X Quattro X Candy drones can land safely on one's hand. Other companies such as CCP Co. Limited have added small cameras to their 11-gram nano drones, enabling it to film 4 minutes of video in flight. The company recommends indoor flights of drones rather than outdoors in response to privacy concerns over the use of small unmanned aerial vehicle. While the latest private drone available on the market can take you back $1,500 US, these cost closer to $60 US or $100 US if you want video capacity.